Hello everybody and welcome to my video. Sorry if the audio sounds a bit off or odd. My original audio ended up getting fucked up due to the fact that my headphones couldn't properly tell me the volume output for the background music that you saw for a split second. So unfortunately I couldn't hear myself over the music I had set up for everybody. But anyway, this is going to be an, I guess, introductory video. Maybe? I'm not really sure what to label this video. Basically, I'm just going to be giving you all a sort of basic rundown, even with the footage accelerated, just basically going to give you a simple rundown of all the stuff that I have to go through when making my Webtoon, which unfortunately, even with what I show, it barely scratches the surface of all of the stuff I have to do. Everything from like the idea to writing the plot to designing the characters and all that other fun stuff. But we'll get to that I guess right now. But more so the artwork versus the written work, because that's on my phone. I don't really know how to transfer it onto my laptop, so yeah. The image you're seeing right now on the screen is a full illustration that I had created out of spur of the moment inspiration for what in the world I wanted adult Frisco car to look like, which is going to end up being changed in the future. Don't know why I designed it like that, but I kind of like the designs. The next image that's about to appear on screen is in the sort of somewhat finished line art sketch of another OC of mine, along with Bad Dummy, that didn't really flesh out the way I wanted it to, because I kept making the design look too humanoid, and I needed to make it look more, well, monster-esque. This next thing is an actual concept sketch of an idea I had for one of the chapter titles, but the size of the sheet of paper I drew it on didn't really allow me to flesh out the full idea, but I at least managed to get the doodle down so I could get a kind of basic rough draft of how and what I wanted everything to kind of look, so to speak. So if I decide to finalize it, I know to adjust it for like different spacing problems. In that image, my problem was that I didn't have enough vertical height. I had plenty enough horizontal height, but I lacked vertical height. I probably should have drawn smaller. But the next image I'm putting in would be, give me a second, I actually genuinely can't remember. Oh, here we go, comic pages. Because, excuse me, this is page 1. The reason I poured it down in was to explain that I am a traditional artist first and a digital artist second, which means all of my stuff will all be hand-drawn by me alone. Everything ranging from panels to background art to characters in the scene to even the speech bubbles, until I can port it in and have it digitally rendered. So yeah, it's not really a walk in the park for me. The next image I ported in was, I think it was the little mushroom guys. I think it was the mushroom guys. Nope, it wasn't the mushroom guys. It was coming to later. It was one of the traditional pages that I used non-photocopy blue and camera red on to help me better the scenes so I could get a general idea of how everybody's moving and being positioned. As you can tell the difference between the first page and I think that's page 18. I have all my pages numbered specifically just for me so I know how to keep track of them. I don't think I kept the numbers in the Webtoon. I do not remember. I'll figure that out later. I still have to go delete that backup file. I think now I'm porting in the little mushroom guys. Sorry, my voice sounds kind of rough. I just woke up. But no, yeah. Here are the little mushroom guys, which again, more rough concept sketches and little doodles to the effective. I also have to plan all the background characters in one shot and like one shots and like small arcs and a larger arcing story. So I have to design things that may not even show up in the webtoons, like those little mushroom guys. Here we are switching into some of the digital artwork that I do after the traditional art is digital art that I do after the traditional art is being rendered. Because here's one of the comic pages. I have to put in line art, the frames, color background, color the characters, shade it. I also have to, once again, more background images. This was drawn on a actual tablet, like the digital device, not the drawing tablet. So unfortunately, I couldn't really save the separated files. I had to save just like one whole image, and that sucked. More images of me having to draw the books for Tori's bookshelf one by one, because I still hadn't figured out how to crop and copy. That was me actually figuring out I could export it as a whole webtoon. I can't remember which file I'm getting now. Oh yeah, I was getting my logo, which I might need to change up a bit. But this is to also show you that I have to keep track of color palettes, but the problem is I didn't have a digitally rendered character yet, so I had to use this one to show you that I have to keep track of color palettes. I have to make sure I'm coloring the characters correctly, along with shading and other various things, but there's no shading on that since it's a flat 2D image, so I don't have to worry about adding the shaded variant colors as well. But this was to give you like a basic idea and gist of what the bloody hell I have to do all the time. Because look, I even had to zoom in the palette to show you that the top row is from a palette for a 4-part series a friend of mine commissioned. The bottom left is the 4 palette sets for me and my siblings' characters' primordial forms. There's supposed to be 2 more color palettes, but the problem is until I can get the turnarounds for my cousins, it's gonna be blank. And the one grayscale gradient on the right is to help me kind of formulate how everything's supposed to be laid out, especially with like stuff like backgrounds and props and other various things. So I can focus on how it looks and how it's designed versus how it's, colored with all its fancy colors. Can't remember what else I ordered in. God, I'm so tired. But oh yeah, those guys. Also, I have to teach myself to not drown everything in so much detail. Sometimes simply better due to the fact that this thing is littered to death in cheetah and leopard print, and it is woof. Also, character redesign, because I made both Alphys and Undyne look humanoid, and also my character Nikita is one of the girl scientists. Again, I'm being all over the place right now. God, I wish the original audio hadn't got fucked up, but anyway, sometimes less is more, because I flooded this scene with like way too much detail, because the patterns is catching your eye more than the characters do. The fact that they're so flat and I didn't get a chance to shade anything, let alone add lighting, so yikes. Also, I didn't think about the implications of putting a bunch of cheetah and leopard print pattern shit in the house of an anthropomorphized leopard. So there's that. Now I'm just showing you the display of all the color palettes I have to keep track of, whether they be for my character, color psychology, and how they make the character feel. Colors I just find pretty and endearing, along with even color palettes I found on the internet that might help change the moods of the scene, along with lighting and a whole bunch of other shit. It's a lot. I specifically have a folder just for that and for that alone. That was an accident. But no, yeah, that shows off some of the digital aspect. Again, this whole thing is like absolutely amazing. This scene kind of displays the different progressions, because you also have to keep track of those to make sure you know what the hell you're doing with each scene, because each brush can give a different feel and weight to it when you're drawing certain things, along with whatever tool you're using at the moment. Sorry if I couldn't really give the brushing a bit more detail. I was just using my mouse pad, so there was no pressure sensitivity. But yeah, again, I was checking the music. I thought everything was looking right, but it wasn't, so anyway. But no, yeah, different brushes can cause different types of line art, which can cause different types of weight and feeling in the story, which lead to a whole bunch of other things. Especially depending on how intense you're writing the scene, which I need to make a separate folder for all the brushes I use so I can use them. This right now is the part of the video, if I'm remembering it correctly. If I'm remembering it correctly, where I'm trying to find the complete file of the comic book page of, I think, page 4. So I could show you the separate layers of what I'm doing in the comic, or what I have to do a comic, which is one of my, which I think page 4 was one of my smaller feats. But no, yeah, you can see me flick around with the layers as I show you how the background, the frames, the characters being colored in. The white frame actually being a layer mask, so that adds more layers onto the already given layers. Otherwise, the panels. How do I keep calling them frames? The panels would be black and hard to see against the background. You can see me blip around with the viewing of the layers as I show you the draft, the line art, the pencil sketch of the page, which is completely different from the line art because my art keeps shifting and changing constantly. The background and how I warp some of the background for certain scenes, but anyway, because that's the draft. I keep showing the background again. That's font and that's handwritten things. The paper background again, draft, line art. Background again. Color. I have no idea what the hell I'm doing half the time. And then you just see me flicking around with the other layers. That's the color palette. I had to blip in and out of the scene to make sure I had everyone's colors correct. That's the handwritten font to make sure it's noticeable. That's the background. While my character yells at Gaster. The text bubbles. Speech bubbles. Yeah, speech bubbles. So there's a separate layer for that and that alone. And even though the pacing of the story is like slightly all over the place, I'd still have to make it somewhat cohesive. But even then, that's still one of my smaller things. Because I think this is when I show you page 6. Yeah. Page 6, where it hasn't even been finished yet. All I have is the manga paper background, the pencil sketch for the manga page, and the draft layer, along with the standard frame, the panels folder. To show you that. To show you how it looks in the beginning stages, also with me trying to find the section that I usually go to get the manga panels, but I couldn't find it. So yeah, there's that. Yeah, as you can see, the draft layer basically allows me to somewhat redraw the characters in my current style without completely destroying it by using the red lines as line of motion and the blue is kind of the silhouette of the building blocks of the body. As you can see from my brother's character, which he drew this scene, you can see that he's basically made up of like circles and rectangles with like a few triangles that are here and there. He somehow managed to design his character with a perfect 60-30-10 ratio, which took us a while, but that's sensible. Which, speaking of my brother, he's helping me with this, because that's one of his characters, Dragon Phantasm, who's basically a Flowey duplicate. Also another soulless creature, but unlike Flowey, he's not really trying to be malicious, he just does whatever the fuck he feels like in the most chaotic way possible. Or at least as far as I can remember his character. My brother does help me with a few characters, like him and his squad, which we're partially still redesigning. And I didn't get a chance with the other two members of the squad or the design he had for his wife and his kids, but like, my brother can only help me with so much because he has his own personal projects, so Don't go blasting in the comment section and shit. And I really need to sit down and take more photos of the artwork, so I have them on hand. But yeah, that image is a picture of Flowey borrowing some of Flowey's. That is a picture of Dragon Phantasm borrowing some of Flowey's DNA/data. That is an image of my brother, fully colored. God damn it. Fully colored, along with his son, who's a monster kid-like creature. I think this is the part where I went looking for the other images that I realized I didn't have photos for. Yeah. But, no, yeah, this is all just a lot. And also very tiresome. Again, rechecking the music because I thought everything was going well. It wasn't. But no, yeah, this is everything that I do, and it's incredibly tiresome. And if I were to sit down and make videos of me trying to do my comic for like an hour a day, it'd be tedious as hell. Very, very tedious. Oh, wait, damn it. I now realize what the hell I forgot to add to that video, but I can't do it now since this is technically a voiceover. I'd have to make another recording to go more in depth of each of the sections of how in the world I do this thing. This was kind of basically an introductory video to show you where in the world this channel is going in terms of introducing my Webtoon to everyone, versus trying to make it like seem all whimsical and magical, like, oh, everything gets done, look at these fucking split and shit. And once again, check the music. I was showing off my Patreon because I was talking about the uncensored versions of the pages since Webtoon won't allow me. I was also talking about my Pillow Fort because it's another place I can stick the uncensored pages. I wasn't expecting the alicorn at all. Newgrounds. The other two won't let me. I'm still my Twitter. I'm still contemplating making a Newgrounds account. Might do it, might not. Who knows? But not right now. My Reddit, my DeviantArt, my camera, which other websites I was talking about. The fact that very few will allow you to just post NSFW, like, gory shit, so there's that. But, it's a hell of a humdinger due to the fact of it's a lot of work for one person, and since I'm unfortunately too broke to afford hiring help, and I don't want to cheat anybody, I have to do this all on my own. With a little assist now and again, but I have to mostly do this on my own. Because this image right here is actually me pulling up what concept sketching actually looks like with my OC. And it shows you all the different ways I tried to design her face, how I decided to try to design her body, and all while using pencil. But the problem is I'm not 100% really good doing that in pencil, since pencil just makes me think I can do everything, since, you know, pencil is one of the first things that you draw with, versus if I use something a bit more like permanent and with a bit of color, it'll make my brain stick to being like, hey, I have to draw something within the semi-tangible parameters of this character versus just going off the deep end. Because in the pencil sketches, I noticed I was still making her too humanoid and wasn't really designing her with a more monstrous look in mind, which gets done in the later versions that have color to them, which you unfortunately won't get to see because they will be in my Patreon. Because again, I have to still make money somehow, especially the fact I can't go outside and get a job and all this fucking cough, Lorona. It's a hell of a humdinger, and it is a lot to do for one person, especially due to the fact I'm doing this all with absolutely no funding whatsoever. And I know you're probably sitting here thinking, but you have Clip Studio Paint. Even I didn't buy that. This was a gift given to me by a good friend of mine. Like, I couldn't even afford this on a good day. So, yeah, no, this is... I'm mostly doing this by sheer grit, spit, determination, and the grace of God at this moment. All completely unfunded. Sorry if this sounds like an advertisement, but this is basically how intense everything is. But anyway, I'll get out of your hair for now until about the next video where I show you the full extent of the traditional process in parts. Probably multiple parts, because this is the part that takes up the most time. But, no, yeah. Bye. And I'll see you guys in the next video.